Today we're gonna look at something that's thick. NZXT's BLD is a quick and easy way to get a new gaming computer. Build a gaming PC on your budget using the built-in configurator, which now includes Intel's 14th gen CPUs featuring faster cores with increased core counts and speeds up to 6 GHz for an overall better gaming experience. Don't want to build it yourself? Then choose from BLD's pre-configured player PC systems built with performance and various budgets in mind. To see the full lineup and specs of the NZXT Build Player Series pre-built PCs, follow the sponsored link in the description below. I've been waiting for this now for a while. I think we first saw this last year. Yeah, we first saw this last year at LTX, Linus Tech Expo. This is Hyte's THICC, like a Q60. Yeah, the THICC Q60. You know, one of the things I love about Hyte, they're a brand that's just having fun. And the box is evidence of that. And we'll talk about that in a second after I get all this cellophane off. We're gonna unbox it today, look at it, hook it up to the software so you guys can see. This is not your typical AIO. Trust me, this is not just a THICC AIO. First of all, let's take a look at a tour of the back of the box, okay? I don't know if you can read this, but it says why we made this. Cooling unlocks potential. That's true. When it comes to like overclocking and stuff, the cooler you can get it, the better. That's true for any CPU. Performance over patents. I feel like that's a little slide at THICC kind of being the rebrand of everything. This is not an THICC product. This is a Hyte/iBuyPower designed and built product from the ground up. Cables are just super gross, so we got rid of like all of the cables. So, okay, THICC stands for Technology Harnessing Innovative Chonk for Cooling.
That's amazing.
It's just chonk.
That's freaking amazing.
It's funny because that's what we refer to, like me, the laptops we get, you know, the chonkers. Okay, dropping temps like country rhythm at a quartet show. Okay, and then people turn the TV on, it looks just like a window. I don't really get that one. If you look right here at the picture, one of the things that really got my attention about this is the fact that there is a giant display on the top of the block. So it's ARGB obviously, this clearly is a display, but it says it has dual harmonic pumps. Now the pumps look like they're built into the radiator setup, and it's super thick. That's why they call it thick. Where's the dimensions here? It's 52 millimeters thick. So let's open it up and see what all comes with it.
It's Christmas!
Okay, oh my God, the cables are, so that's the thickness of the AIO portion of it right there. Oh my God, this is like, okay, I don't know how to explain this. Yeah, so here's our brackets and stuff. That's everything that's in the box right there. Okay, so it looks like it's pre-bracketed for Intel CPUs, but obviously it works for pretty much every Intel socket, and including AM4 and AM5. The display is in here. As you can see, the display swivels. Is it? Yeah, display tilts and swivels, so you can get it just the right angle. It's about the size of a cell phone. I don't know what the actual dimensions are of it. We'll see if it's in the manual, but check this out. This right here, that's a big boy, okay? And I'm pretty sure the pumps are in here. Nope, there's a pump right there too. So maybe there's one in the end and one inline. So this is a big boy, as you can see, but it's also got sleeved tubes. Oh, this is Velcro. This is nice. I guess you could leave this on if you wanted, but I would take it off because it looks much nicer. And then obviously all the wires and everything needed to get to the display and the block. I don't think there's a pump in the block. Maybe there is a pump in the block. I don't know. I think that's what one of the THICC patents are. So if they got around the THICC patent, which like they said, you know, performance over patents, I would assume the pumps are only inside the radiator, which means you could mount it like this if you wanted, because the pump's down here. You're not gonna have air accumulating in the pump if it's in the CPU block. So by not having it in the CPU block is a very nice feature, because now you can orient it any way you freaking want. You can see right here that the fans are configured in a pool config, and then we have 3 USB-C plugs right here. So I'm not sure exactly what 3 of these are for yet. Obviously, I think one's gonna be for the display. The other ones are probably gonna be for the pump. One might be a hub. That'd be really interesting. But we can take a look at that here in a sec. And then in terms of the setup, Here's our other brackets, and I'm assuming our cables. This might be one of the easiest, fastest installs you could possibly have for like an AIO, considering you see, notice there's no wiring or anything for the fans you've got to deal with. It's all built in. This was a product that was supposed to come out like last year, and they delayed it because they wanted to get things perfect, and I'm glad they did because that's it. Okay, so we have our AMD kit, our Intel kit, our hold down spring / screw top for the brackets. These are gonna have, you know, the motherboard backplate and stuff. So for the Intel side, as you can see right here, this is gonna have our mounting brackets for the back side of the motherboard. Here are the screws that go through the motherboard, and that's it. It even has double-sided tape right here to make it stick to the back side of the CPU socket. That way it's not falling down if you're trying to do it, you know, by yourself without anyone holding on the back side, or if you're trying to do it with it already in the system. Let's say you're retrofitting a system. So this is LGA 115X 1200, and then this is the radiator screws, and then AMD Intel 4x spring nuts. These are gonna have to be the same ones for 1700 though, I'd assume, even though they're not listed, because I can't imagine they only support 115X and 1200. I think maybe the labeling should be a little more indicative of the sockets. That would be a very bad move if this did not support, there it is, LGA 11, or assuming 1700, so. Yeah, it actually supports every socket. So this is the only cable. And it's powered off of a 6-pin PCI Express cable. Not a SATA, not a Molex. Most people would probably have an extra one of these cables laying around because most power supplies these days have at least 3. But this is it. So this one plug just plugs into here, and it's now wired. You've got, oh, what is this guy right here? A fan header. That's just gonna be more than likely for, well, look, actually I got 3 of the 4 pins. So PWM, probably RPM, and ground, it looks like. That's interesting. We've got our USB 2.0 header, which just goes to any standard USB 2.0 device on the motherboard, and then a single power for 6-pin power PCI Express. That is like literally it. Well, clearly there's no other reason to get one of these than to have Admiral J hanging out on here. Okay, so let's talk about the Nexus software here. The last time we took a look at the Nexus software from Hyte was with the Hyte Y70 Touch. Bending the knee. I just love the slogans and stuff. Nexus software is very similar to any of the other, like the stuff we looked at for the Y70, so we can go in here and change our background colors and stuff to, you know, something else if we want. You can see right now that page that's up there by default, it's just a clock. One of my biggest gripes currently though, is that if we go into the clock setting here, or the faces, and then we say clock, this is the only option we get, is this kind of a stacked number. You can, oh, we can look at screen time. We don't want to know how long we've been in Chrome. The weather, like, it's set to Cologne for some reason. Performance, and then clock. Now there are some themes you could go in here and change. Even on app focus, where you can have it show stuff from an app. It's coming soon, but it can show stuff from Chrome, stuff from Discord. That'd be neat to have like Discord chat hanging up there like all the time. I guess if you're really, my kid communicates with like her friends via Discord, like that's it, right? So that would be important for her. Like me, I'm barely in Discord, so that wouldn't matter to me. You can change the backgrounds. So you can see right now, I've got sort of this, what looks kind of like an oil slick going for the clock here, but I made a couple of different faces over here. So if I switch to this one, you can see that's showing the GPU core and stuff. So if I wanted to modify this GPU one I made, so it shows, right, we got an RTX 3060 Ti, the GPU core, and that white's kind of hard to read against all of that active background right there. So let's say we want to go in there and adjust that. When we're on that page, we can go to theme. We can kind of change the background opacity. So we can make that darker if we wanted. So now you can see the text a lot easier. You can change the color of the text to something else if you wanted. So you can just really kind of go in here and customize all this to whatever theme you wanted. I think we'll leave that as white. Leave the opacity kind of up on that one. And then if we wanted, we can even change that whole background to something else or a completely different sensor. So you can see right here for GPU core, I have it set to temperature where we could see the load, the memory controller percentage, video engine, anything basically you could see in like GPU Z will show up on here because it's just sensor reading. So that's pretty neat. You can see the total board power. You can even see in watts more than likely on here. What you can't do, what I wish you could do, is stack some of these sensors. So you could see more than one sensor at a time. So you could have like GPU package at the bottom and maybe GPU temperature or fan percentage in the middle and then temperature on top. Like, so you could just kind of at a snapshot see a lot of the stuff you'd put on a sensor panel, which is essentially what this is intending to do. So I got another page on here too. There's the CPU, right? And we can also change that background if we wanted. There's so many different things we can do with this, it's crazy. Whoops. So if we go here to background, that's where we can change these other options. So there's kind of like a, it's sort of, I don't know what you would call that. It's pretty neat and abstract though. We've got this one here, which kind of looks like light speed, but vaporwave colors. We've got the Earth just kind of rotating down there, which looks really neat. But it's kind of interesting. You see this weird, like, it looks like a water level. So the higher that goes, the hotter your CPU is. So if I was to, let's say, start up Cinebench right now, there we go. See how the water level is going up with temperature? And there's different settings you can choose for that. So you can have it show a water level or a circle. Like, you can go in and change all that sort of stuff. They also sent us these other accessories because it does have like a Nexus link sort of a aspect to it where you can attach other devices to it and use a single header for all of that. So here's the fans. You can see they're exactly the same fan like what's on the cooler right now. But if you look right here, pogo pins right there. And then if you look at the accessory box, here are the headers for that. So we've got this guy right here. Well, we got two guys right there, which is just nothing more than a magnetic, kind of a pogo pin. So that just magnetizes on there. And then we can take this and theoretically take this little sticker off right there, plug this right onto it, and check it out, the fan should turn on. There it goes. And the magnets are polarized, so they can only go one way, and it's a very strong magnet, as you can see. Now look, the fan turns on, and then the fan's gonna turn off. That's because you get to go into Nexus now, and you can actually control each fan individually within a chain, which is very cool. So as you can see right here, it creates a little flow chart. So we have the THICC Q60 right here. It's controlled off temperature. Right now it's based off of pump temperature, where we can make it use other temps if we wanted. So temp out would be the coldest temperature. We don't necessarily want that. Temp in would be the hottest temperature coming back after going through the CPU. So we can tell it to have performance pumps. These are our pumps right there. Where we go? There we go. So here's our pumps right there, which performance pump is set up to harmonic 1 and 2. If we go to fans, you can see our third fan right there. THICC P12B1, 0 RPM. It's clearly going 0 RPM. So we can now say, let's take our performance fan profile and set it up to that one. There it goes, it starts up. You can see it's torquey too with the way it was rocking right there. And then now it's running, you can see a higher RPM. Let's say I don't like the fact that these are running slow. I could disconnect those, drag. I'm literally connecting wires, which this is a very smart, intuitive way of doing this for people to see the flow of power and what's controlling what. I like this a lot. So now all of these fans are going, but that's not all. So we also have this guy right here. You take the male USB, plug it into that, and then we could connect this to, say, the back side of the case coming off the AIO. Plug that in the same way. It's gonna turn on, probably turn off. Let's wait for it to detect. There it is. So now we can go ahead and reconnect that to there. We're good to go. I don't know what that fourth wire is. I think it's because it needs to update itself or something. We have also too a connector that goes from that USB-C to a fan header. So you could plug those into a motherboard and then still maintain the daisy chainable capability of these fans. But let's talk about RGB strips now. So these are the LS30 digital immersion lighting, which also runs off the Nexus software. Check this out. I guarantee there's no one else in the market doing it this way. Notice the same USB-C cables? This might be the first product really on the market that enables lighting strips to be a part of a daisy chain setup. of different devices. Because we now have, in this same daisy chain, of this one connection to the computer, our display, our lighting, our fan controls, our additional fans, and I just realized that's a really long strip.
And 2 pumps.
Yes, and 2 pumps. So the fan comes with, of course, its magnetic pogo pins, as we've already discussed. That's in there. And then we can take this guy. There we go. That's now plugged in. And this should, there we go. And you notice it's already linked to the color that we had in the lighting tab. This is like 2 meters of RGB strip. Hey, we have more.
Oh my God.
How much RGB can we do? Well, we haven't found the limit yet as to how much we can carry through one header, because we've got about, I don't know, 12 feet of RGB cable and still 2 fans at the end of it running. And it's all going through that one plug. That's crazy. I think this is something we've all kind of dreamed about, like super simple and easy to use and expand system. Like I had no idea that Hyte was working on anything like this. Now you might be asking yourself, Jay, I don't have a Q60. I'm not planning on getting a Q60. I already have a cooling system I'm very happy with, but I like all this function. Well, the 3 fan pack comes with the Nexus portal. So all of the stuff you saw me doing through the Q60 in the Nexus app can be done through this portal. And it also comes with a very simple and easy to use, like this is a double USB-C that plugs right into the side of the portal right here. And there's actually right here, you can see it on the side, there's additional sensor too that plug that allows you to plug in sensors for temperature readings and stuff, which the portal will see most of the temperature sensors that are in the system already, but this is for adding additional probes to anywhere you want to monitor temperatures directly. So you can just plug this guy right in the side right here, put the little cover back on. So now it's like one of the cleanest portals yet. And then you can see you got 3 hubs or 3 plugs right on the back right here, which you could use to daisy chain 3 channels off of essentially. So you saw how we daisy chained all of this off one channel. You have multiple channels. And it also uses the same 6-pin PCI Express to power it all. So you got a PCI Express 6-pin. We've got our fan 3-pin header, which is exactly the same as the Q60 there for reading RPM, or sending all of the signal. So you can use the Nexus to control your fan speeds, or you can just say, let the motherboard do it. It'll pass through from the motherboard into here, into the fans. And then we've got our USB 2.0 header right here for the motherboard. So everything at that point can be controlled off of this. Super neat, super easy to be wired up. So it allows you to bring this cool functionality to a system without having to use the Q60 for it. I feel like a cat with a laser pointer. RGB tester? That's cool, so you could find if there's any bad RGBs, like LEDs on your strip. You ever seen those ones that seem to flicker or do weird things? This would just allow every single, all it does is do RGB and then all 3 of them. So it's red, green, blue, all 3 gives white. So you can test your strip to make sure, hey, everything's working. And if they all light up white, that's getting plenty of power, because white is the most power draw, because all 3 LEDs are lit as bright as possible. One of my daughter's rigs needs a lot of work in terms of being cleaned up, and her AIO pump's starting to make some noise and stuff, so this might be the perfect time to actually update her rig with this cooler.
And 38 feet of lighting.
It won't be enough for her, man. She is like, all the RGB, please. All right, guys, there we go. I thought I was gonna be doing a video just about a cool display on an AIO, but instead, it ended up being a pretty sick implementation of like a resolution to a problem we all know exists. And since you guys know I'm redoing Skunkworks with all new water cooling stuff, I kind of want this system in there somehow. But I would need these to be black, and I would need them to be 140 millimeter fan options also, but also have lighting on the fans as well. So until those come out, I can't really utilize it, which really sucks. So anyway, once again, a huge thanks to Hyte for sending us the Q60 THICC to take a look at. I really hope they make them in 360s. That would be awesome. And then obviously the extra stuff, which I didn't even know was this awesome until literally this moment. So you guys are seeing my raw reaction to it. All right, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
It's like not even.
Ow!